Let's talk about 2023, and this time next week I'll be in Snowdonia for the first time since a year ago, really. I'm staying in Betws again for the full 5 nights this time. I'm looking at doing 4 main walks in the area. It's going to include the Arenig Mountains, it's going to include the Reenogs a bit further southwest, it's going to include the Nantlin Ridge from Bethgelert, and it's going to include Mournwind Mountains and Connect, hopefully. I was hoping to stay a bit further south where I did last year at Festiniog, but the bunkhouse now is fully booked for that week, and also they only take on group bookings now for some reason, which is fair enough. It's actually quite common with the independent hostels and bunkhouses these days. They only take group bookings. I've written more about this on my blog. I'll put a link below if you want to read that yourself, about the walks I'm going to do and the accommodation situation. But beyond March, looking at April, I've got no definite plans just yet for any trips away or anything. May or June, I'm looking at doing the West Highland Way, hopefully. It's not yet set in stone, but that's the one trail I want to do next whenever I get around to it. Ideally, I would drive up to, I think it's Mulguys near Glasgow somewhere. I'll drive up there for, the start of the walk rather than getting a plane or a series of trains and buses. I'd walk up to Fort William, then spend an extra day there to climb Ben Nevis, then get a train back down to Mulguy and get back in my car and make the long journey home. Now, as far as car parking goes, if you've done it yourself, the West Highland Way, and you can advise me on where to park in or near Mulguy, please comment below, because I'm not really sure what I can and can get away with right now. July and August could be open to interpretation right now. I normally look out for camping trips with Brunel Walking Group. They're a Ramblers group based in Bristol. We normally have 2 or 3 camping trips away each summer. Could be, last year was like Dartmoor, and we went somewhere else. We went to Scotland in a bunkhouse, a youth hostel up there. We've done, Snowdonia, Peak District, Lake Districts, anywhere really. Just depends on who's organising it and where they're going really, and whether or not I'm interested. Alternatively, I may have an idea, the opportunity even, to go and do a bit of backpacking with 2 friends. We're looking at either doing the 2 Moors Way, possibly in full, and that's like a kind of Devon coast to coast walk, they call it. We're all interested in doing that one at some point. Maybe this year it'll happen. If not that, then we may look at doing Offa's Dyke Path. I'm sure you know of that, what that is now. It's like a kind of England-Wales border walk from north to south or south to north. Yeah, I've done bits of it here and there. My friends have done 1 or 2 bits themselves, but maybe we could do like a few days, not the whole thing. Maybe 4 or 5 days walking that. We're not quite sure just now. It all depends on when they're free and when I'm free and what we can kind of work out together. Getting to the start of these walks, getting back from the end and that sort of thing. Then we get to September, and normally I'd go away for a week on my own. Last year was Lake District. The year before that was the Cleveland Way. Did that in 7 days, I think, 6.5 days. The year before that was Yorkshire Dales, a little camping trip there. So I'm looking at doing something like that possibly, but another idea I've got is that I'd like to go to Morocco one day and do the Atlas Mountains and spend some time over there climbing Mount Toubkal, that sort of thing. As far as the foreign trips go, all the package deals with these adventure companies like what they call Exped? No. Anyway, this one is kind of at the cheaper end of the options available that I've seen, whereas Everest Base Camp can cost you 3.5 grand. Same with Kilimanjaro and the Inca Trail in Peru, South America. The Morocco trip can cost you less than £1,000. I've got it in mind as a possibility. I'm not sure if I can afford it at the time. We'll have to wait and see. And also depends on what's available when, as far as the tour guides are on leading their adventures away. Then we get to October, November, December. Again, nothing set in stone or planned just yet. There's one big change I've got coming up this year that might affect all of this, and I'll talk about it more another time, I think. But that could affect my finances of being available to do some of these trips, certainly the one to Morocco. and it could affect my freedom of time to get around and spend as much time walking. I'll explain it again some other time. It's not going to happen just yet, but it's something I'd like to do. At least try for a year or two, see how it goes. Otherwise, for this year, I could maybe finally try and get on with the Cotswold Way. I mention it every year, but I've made no progress since I started saying it. But yeah, again, if I can just do that first walk, 20 miles or 18 miles, going from Chipping Campden down to Winchcombe and getting the bus back or bus to the start, that would do a really good starting point. A good fifth of the walk complete already, almost. I want to do more wild camping as well this year. Again, I say that most years and it doesn't quite happen often enough. I managed it, I think, twice last year. And I'm thinking about going somewhere locally again this time. Probably starting in April at the earliest, springtime. I'm not really a fully seasoned winter wild camper. I admire those guys recently who've got out in the snow in extremely low temperatures and spent the night, but I'm not quite there yet and I may never get there myself. But for the springtime, summer, autumn, I do want to try and get out and do more of that this year. I've even got an idea for a route in the Brecon Beacons I could do with a bit of walking one day, camp overnight, and a bit more walking the next day. All of which will be on a brand new route that I'd not done before. So that would be really good if I can do that this summer. Another idea I've got is to meet up with more YouTubers. I haven't done that now for a few years. I haven't talked about much either. I've had requests over the year or suggestions from various people around the south of the UK, mainly the southwest, suggesting it, and sometimes, and I've never quite made it happen. But I'd like to do it if I can, not all the time, but maybe once now and again. Just go for a walk with someone or a wild camp or something. It feels like quite a short video, more so than I was expecting. But yeah, it could be, I'm sure it's going to be a good year, whatever I do. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to share below what you're doing this year and any comments you got on my video, my thoughts, my plans, then please leave them below and I'll get back to you when I can. Alright, thank you and have a good week.